Ever had a ridiculous idea you thought would never work? Well, these people cashed in on theirs. I mean, seriously, some of these are so dumb you won't believe they're real. We're talking about ideas that your friends would laugh at, your parents would question, and your bank account would cry about, until it started overflowing with cash. Today, we are going to look at 10 of the absolute stupidest, most insane ideas that somehow, against all odds, made their creators millionaires. It's gonna be wild, it's gonna be funny, and honestly, it might just inspire you to launch your own crazy project. I wanted to see just how simple an idea could be to make a fortune, so my team and I scoured the internet for the most unbelievable success stories. We found people who sold rocks, pixels on a screen, and even a blanket with sleeves. It proves that you don't need a super complex, genius-level plan to get rich. Sometimes all it takes is a spark of complete and utter madness. This video is basically a masterclass in turning "that's a dumb idea" into "I'm a dumb millionaire." So while you're watching, I want you to think about that one weird idea you've been sitting on, that thing you're too embarrassed to even tell anyone about. Could it be the next pet rock, the next $1 million homepage? By the end of this video, you might just be convinced that your craziest thought could be your ticket to financial freedom. Let's get into it. This is 10 stupid ideas that made people rich. Alright, kicking things off with the absolute GOAT of stupid ideas. Imagine going to your friends and saying, "Guys, I have a groundbreaking idea. I'm going to put rocks in a box and sell them as pets." You'd be laughed out of the room, right? Well, that's exactly what Gary Dahl did in 1975. He literally sold rocks. He got the idea after listening to his friends complain about their actual pets, so he marketed the pet rock as the perfect low-maintenance companion. It doesn't need to be fed, walked, or bathed. It will never die. It's the perfect pet. And people bought it. He didn't just sell a rock. Oh no, that would be too simple. He put the rock on a bed of hay in a cardboard box designed like a pet carrier, complete with air holes. And the best part? It came with a hilarious 32-page instruction manual on how to care for your new pet, with commands like sit and stay, which obviously the rock was very good at. In just a few months, he sold over 1.5 million of these things for $4 each. He became a millionaire by selling literal, actual rocks. This is the ultimate proof that marketing is everything. Okay, if selling rocks wasn't crazy enough, how about selling absolutely nothing? In 2005, a 21-year-old student from England named Alex 2 needed money for college, so he launched the $1 Million homepage. The idea was brilliant in its simplicity. He created a single web page with a grid of 1 million pixels, and he sold each pixel for $1. That's it. He was selling digital real estate, tiny little squares of empty space on a website. Advertisers could buy a block of pixels, put their logo on it, and link back to their own site. At first, his friends and family bought the first few thousand pixels, but then, the media caught on. The sheer novelty of the idea was so absurd that it went viral. News outlets around the world covered the story of this kid selling pixels for $1. Companies started clamoring to get a spot on this bizarre piece of internet history. The final 1,000 pixels were so in demand that he had to auction them off on eBay, and they sold for over $38,000. In just over 4 months, Alex 2 became a millionaire by selling empty space. He literally sold nothing and made a fortune. What's better than a warm blanket on a cold day? A warm blanket that you can wear while still using your hands to eat snacks. This is the earth-shattering problem the Snuggie solved. It's not a robe, it's not a blanket. It's a blanket with sleeves. The concept is so unbelievably simple it's almost insulting. How did nobody think of this before? Or maybe they did and were too embarrassed to admit it. But in the late 2000s, the Snuggie exploded onto the scene with some of the most iconic and cheesy infomercials of all time. The ads showed people struggling with regular blankets, unable to answer the phone or use the remote. Then the Snuggie appears like a superhero to save the day. People were wearing them at sporting events, family gatherings, even in weird cult-like group photos. It became a pop culture phenomenon, a punchline, and a massive commercial success. They sold over 30 million of these things, generating hundreds of millions of dollars in revenue. It's a testament to solving a tiny, almost non-existent problem in the most ridiculous way possible. It's peak human innovation right here. Alright, let's talk about something we all do, but honestly, nobody really wants to talk about pooping. It's a smelly business. But what if you could make it not smelly? So, back in 2007, Susie Batiz came up with Poo-Pourri, which is basically before you go toilet spray. You just spray it into the toilet bowl before you do your business. And it creates this film on the water that traps odors underneath. The idea itself was pretty clever, but what really made it a viral sensation was the marketing. The ads were just absolutely hilarious and broke like every taboo about bathroom etiquette. Their most famous ad, "Girls Don't Poop," featured this super posh, well-dressed British woman sitting on a toilet delivering lines like, "You would not believe the mother load I just dropped." It was shocking, it was funny, and honestly, it was ridiculously shareable. That video, it has hundreds of millions of views and it totally launched the brand into the stratosphere. People who would never dream of buying a can of air freshener were suddenly picking up Poopery as a gag gift, and then discovering that it actually worked. This company turned a bathroom secret into a $500 million empire by being brave enough to be hilarious. If you were alive in the 80s or 90s, you absolutely know this sound, chia. The Chia Pet is honestly one of the most enduring fads of all time. It's basically a terracotta figurine shaped like an animal or a cartoon character that you slather with chia seeds. You water it, and within a few weeks, the figurine sprouts this luscious green coat that looks like fur or hair. It's part plant, part pet, part weird sculpture. The concept first popped up in the late 70s but really became a cultural icon thanks to its incredibly catchy jingle and of course relentless TV advertising, especially around the holidays. People have grown chia sprouts on everything from puppies and kittens to Homer Simpson and SpongeBob SquarePants. Is it useful? Absolutely not. Is it high art? Definitely not. But is it fun? For some reason, yes. There's just this bizarre satisfaction in watching your terracotta sheep slowly grow a green afro. The company has sold millions of these things over the decades, proving that you really don't need to be practical to be profitable. Sometimes, all you need is a catchy jingle and the simple joy of watching something grow in a funny shape. Okay, so this one honestly sounds like an invention straight out of a cartoon. The Flowbee. It's a haircutting system that you actually attach to your vacuum cleaner. I am not making this up. You attach this weird plastic contraption to the end of a vacuum hose, and it uses the suction to pull your hair up and then trim it with these recessed blades. It even came with spacers, so you could choose the length of your hair, promising a perfect layered haircut every single time, right in your own home. It's the kind of thing you'd see in an infomercial at like 3 in the morning and think, who on earth would buy that? Well, turns out a lot of people bought it. The inventor Rick Huntz came up with it in the late 80s and it developed a massive cult following. People absolutely swore by it. George Clooney even admitted he's been using one for years. The Flowbee sold over 2 million units, making its inventor a very wealthy man. It's basically the ultimate DIY device for people who want to save a few bucks on a haircut, or are just way too scared to go to a real barber. It's proof that if you can solve a problem, even with a method that looks completely insane, people will pay for it. A vacuum-powered haircutting machine, what a world, right? Remember those weird, sticky, octopus-looking things you could throw against a wall and watch them slowly tumble their way down? Those were wacky wall walkers. These little toys were nothing more than a piece of sticky, stretchy plastic molded into the shape of a person, or, an octopus. You'd fling it at a smooth surface like a wall or a window, and it would stick, then flip, then stick, then flip, making its way to the floor. It was mesmerizingly simple and honestly ridiculously addictive for a kid in the 1980s. But, you know, the story behind it is even crazier. The creator, Ken Hakuta, was given the toy by his mother, who got it in China. He saw its potential, and bought the rights for just $100,000. He started marketing them in the DC area and they became a local craze. Then a story in a major newspaper turned it into a national phenomenon. Cereal companies started putting them in their boxes as prizes. In just a few months, over 240 million of these sticky little things were sold, making Hakuta a multi-millionaire. All from a simple sticky toy that just walks down walls. You think you've heard it all, but have you heard of Doggles? That's right, goggles. For dogs. And no, this isn't a joke. It's actually a real company that makes protective eyewear specifically for canines. The idea came to founder Ronnie DiLullo when she noticed her dog squinting in the bright sunlight. She tried using human sunglasses, but yeah, they just wouldn't stay on. So, like any logical person, she designed a pair of goggles that would fit a dog's head structure, complete with straps to keep them in place. You're probably thinking, this is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. And honestly, you're not alone. But it turns out, there's a real market for this. They protect dogs' eyes from UV rays, wind, and debris. They're used by military dogs, police K9 units, and just regular pet owners, who want their dogs to look incredibly cool while riding in a car with their head out the window. The company has sold millions of pairs and expanded into a whole line of pet products. It just goes to show you, even the most niche, most ridiculous-sounding idea can find an audience if it solves a real problem, even a problem you never knew existed. Okay, for this next one, we're taking the dumbest idea ever and bringing it into the 21st century. Remember the pet rock from Chapter 1? In 2014, an app developer took that exact concept and made it digital. He created a game called Pet Rock for smartphones. And what do you do in this game? Literally nothing. You open the app and you see a picture of a rock. That's it. You can't interact with it, you can't feed it, you can't do anything. It is a digital pet rock that just sits on your screen. The app's description was honestly brilliant, stating, "Witness the first and only pet rock simulator. The only official pet rock game." People downloaded it as a joke just to see how pointless it was. And it went viral. The app was downloaded over 1 million times. The creator made a fortune from in-app advertising that would pop up while you were, staring at your rock. He took an old, stupid idea, put zero effort into developing it, and made a ton of money because the concept was so absurd. It's a masterclass in understanding irony and internet culture. We started with selling a rock, and now we end with selling pure air. I'm serious. In 2021, an Italian artist named Salvatore Garau sold an immaterial sculpture. That's the fancy way of saying he sold an invisible sculpture. It's a piece of art that does not exist. It's made of, and I quote, air and spirit. He argued that the sculpture exists in the vacuum of space it occupies, a space full of energy. To display it, the buyer just has to put it in a 5 by 5 foot empty space in their home. And someone bought it. Someone paid 15,000 euros, which is over $18,000, for this piece of nothing. The buyer received a certificate of authenticity to prove they owned the invisible artwork. This is beyond stupid. It's galaxy brain level absurdity. It proves that value is completely subjective. If you can convince someone that a patch of empty air is art, you can sell it. This artist didn't need materials. He didn't need a studio. He just needed an idea and the confidence to sell it. This might be the most profitable stupid idea of all time, because the production cost was literally zero. So what have we learned today? We learned that you can get rich selling rocks, air pixels, and blankets with sleeves. The line between a stupid idea and a genius idea is apparently very, very thin. All 10 of these stories started with a concept that most people would have dismissed instantly, but the creators had the guts to see it through. They weren't afraid to be weird, to be funny, or to look completely insane. They understood that sometimes the simplest and most absurd ideas are the ones that capture people's imaginations. So, next time you think your idea is too weird, remember, crazy can be cash. Remember the guy who sold rocks or the student who sold pixels? Your idea for a cat-sized hammock or a self-stirring cereal bowl might sound dumb now, but these people prove that the market for weird stuff is massive. Don't let the fear of what other people think stop you from trying something new. The world is full of problems, big and small, and sometimes the silliest solution is the one that works best. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked seeing how these crazy entrepreneurs made their fortunes, smash that like button and subscribe to the channel because we have so many more insane videos coming your way. And I want to know what you think. Like, subscribe, and share your own wild ideas in the comments. What's the stupidest business idea you've ever had? Let's see if we can find the next millionaire right here in the comments section. See you in the next video.